I wish I had some Christians in here that understands that sometimes on this Christian journey, every now and then you are going to feel like throwing in the towel. Can I get a witness from just one person in here that every now and then while you are trying to be faithful to your God and the call on your life, that from time to time the enemy tries to make you feel like you cannot make it? I wish I had somebody in here who will look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, trust the process, because one of these old days, if I keep trusting God, one of these old days, if I keep serving God, one of these old days, if I endure till the end, one of these old days, if you hold on just a little while longer, one of these old days, there's going to be a graduation. Somebody in here should have gotten happy right there, because one of these old days, if I just stay faithful, God is going to bless me. Is there anybody in here that wants to hear your name one day when God says, well done, thy good and faithful servant? Somebody in here ought to shout, I can't wait to get God. When we look at our journey, if the truth be told, there are some times when we all get discouraged, we all get discombobulated, we all get distorted and distracted. And what I have come to understand is that the enemy purposely sets and waits to see if he can make you fail. Can I get a witness from somebody? But if we were really Bible believers, we would already understand that everything we go through is only a test. And not only is everything just a test, we have an inside track because we have the answer. Y'all don't hear me when you all recall. When you recall many of the things that have happened to you, when you understand that God was only testing you, you will then begin to realize that he is preparing you for the day when you will get your robe and your class ring and you will be paraded across the stage where you can truly declare to the world, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, in the words of Marvin Sapp, you never would have made it without him. I wish I had just one witness in here who would give God a shout for keeping his promise when he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Let the man say, neighbor, I can't wait. In this text, y'all, we find that there were these people, the people of God, on a journey to the promised land. And on the journey, a few things happen. On the journey as Christians, there will be some things that we will encounter that we have to go through in order to determine who we are. In this text, y'all, we see that the writer says, and after this, I saw this a great crowd. Point one, I need y'all to follow me really quickly. A statement of identification. The text says, these people were set aside. Can I talk to some folk in here? Many of us don't understand, and we wonder why in the world we have to go through some of the things that we go through. In fact, sometimes it feels as if God has taken his hands off of us, because it feels as if the enemy has gotten really busy in our lives. And it looks like we're all by ourselves, and it looks like, y'all, we are on the journey by ourselves. But is there anybody in here that understands the only reason why we are able to be identified with Christ is because we have to go through some things. We have to have some bruises. We have to have some sleepless nights. We have to have some nights when we had to cry so we can be identified with who he is. Is there anybody in here that will declare, I've been persecuted, I've been talked about, I've been lied on, I've been mistreated, but I can declare, if it had not been for God, I wouldn't be able to say my God. In this text, we find that he says that there was a great crowd, and he makes an identification of who we are. Now, when I realized this, y'all, I looked back over my walk at Virginia Union, and when we first got to the school, we had to do what they call the orientation process. And when we went through the orientation process, even after you paid your money, nobody knew who you were until you got an identification card. And when you got the identification card, they put your picture on the card, and on the bottom of the card, it had a number. So they don't recognize you by your name, they recognize you by your number. They said, Mr. Rogers, what is your student number? 1735523. Oh, you better look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm so glad that I got a number in the kingdom.